Joining me is Alan Moran of Regulation Economics, who specialises in the cost of green energy. Alan, great to catch up with you again. How much can we blame, do you think, this blackout on wind power? After all, natural gas pipes were also frozen.
Well, the post-mortems will continue for a little while. What is clear that only 2% of the wind turbines were actually in operation at the time of the failure. We can see, if we look at this graphic, that if it's on the screen, yes, that the lower part, and the brownish part, is gas, which was ramping up rapidly. The green at the top is the wind, which was falling apart, and nuclear and coal at the bottom were pretty steady. Now, so the wind did fail as a result of the freezing conditions. Gas also was out, as you say, to some degree, but gas was much higher than it has been. The Public Utilities Commission was very quick to blame wind in the first instance, and maybe that will be the outcome. But certainly, we've got to a situation where the less we have of the fossil fuels, as the Wall Street Journal put it, the more we need them. Indeed, the renewables seem to fall apart very quickly, as we saw in South Australia, we've seen in California, and we see now in Texas. And to the rescue, we ask for the hated fossil fuels to come in there. The point is that why we've got so much renewables in Texas and in Australia is because we subsidise them. The subsidy in Australia last year was actually about the same as the subsidy in Texas. 44% of the revenue of the wind and solar came from subsidies and not from the market. And this has been going on for some time now, so we've seen colossal increases in wind and solar within the markets, 22, 23%, both in Australia and Texas at the moment. None of this would have been built without the subsidies, and we can actually see, if we look at this graphic, the subsidies for Australia have been, which is at the top there, much greater in terms of the attraction of the wind and solar than in any other country in the world. And so
absolutely,
basically
we're paying through our nose compared to the rest of the world for subsidies for green energy. But is there something? What's the lesson here? Is there something intrinsically unreliable, more unreliable, about wind and solar power in a situation like this? I mean, let's be honest. It's a once in a, perhaps even a generation cold snap. But is there something inherently less reliable than with conventional coal or nuclear?
It is more intermittent by definition. It comes in and out, and it's more weather dependent. So basically, it is going to be susceptible to those sorts of problems that are caused by icy conditions. And as you say, this is a pretty rare event in Texas. Not that rare, but would be every 10 years something like this happens there. But so whenever rare events like that happen in Texas or heat waves in California and Australia, then we are susceptible to a shortage of wind, and therefore and that shortage of wind creates a problem for the whole grid. It reduces what's called the system strength of the grid, which can cause it to progressively collapse. And in order to prevent this, we see more and more requirements on administrative measures to actually bolster the more reliable energy. And we're talking about...
Yeah, but we know what administrative measures are. They mean you must use less power or we'll turn you off, including big business. Yeah. So it comes at an enormous cost, as we've seen in places like Victoria, for instance. Alan Moran, this is a fascinating story, but I don't think you'll read much about it in the ABC until they figure a spin to excuse the green energy. Thank you so much indeed for your time.
You're welcome.